So whenever you look at any C# program, it is something like this. You have a namespace. Namespace is having here a name. Whatever application name we initially gave, same name is going to be here, namespace name. Then you have here a program. This is nothing but class name. This is nothing but actually name of the class here. And inside this, you have a method called main method, which is nothing but starting point of the application. Probably you have seen such main methods in the C language, in the C++, in Java, in many languages, you have some starting point. Mostly you can find this in the C, C++, Java. So same way you have in the C#. Main method is nothing but is a method which is here starting point of the application. So rest of the classes, objects you may create here, you may be calling through this particular method. So this is the starting point of the application. Every application must have a starting point. Like websites have a home page or landing page or index page or default page. In the same manner, you have to have some kind of starting point. In the C#, it's the main method. Main method is going to be starting point of the application, and this is a static method. Static methods start automatically here, like main method can start automatically. Okay, static methods normally, these are not actually, they don't belong to objects. Static methods, they don't belong to object, rather they belong to the class. What is the class name? Class name is program. To access this method, you need to write program.main. You don't create object, and after creating object, you are not going to call main method. So without creating object, you can call. This is a static method. Without creating object, you can call. So what exactly static? Let us try to understand here. Further we explore, but you may have confusion why main method is static. For example, you have a circle class. There is a class called circle, and inside circle class, as we discussed yesterday, we have X, Y, and one more is here, radius. Okay, you may write few methods like area. What area is going to do here in this case? This is going to calculate radius, area. So how it calculates area? Based on actually 3.14 multiplied with here, okay, multiplied with radius, multiplied with radius. So this area method can return different areas for different circuits. But suppose I have here something like version. Okay, version I have here. I need to print here whenever I call this return. So what do we write here? Version 1.0. This is going to be static. This will not change. This is not going to be dynamic. So whatever methods, they are actually returning some static content, you have to have them as static methods. And when you create an object, we don't require the instantiation process for that particular method. So using class name, you can access the version. Version 1.0 is going to be for, it's common for all the circles. But when you go with actually the area, that can change from one circle object to another circle object. Because all the circles, they don't have same radius. From one circle to another circle, the radius changes. Okay, such methods are called as actually static methods. So static methods don't require object creation. Okay, similarly, this is a special method which is nothing but starting point of the application. Okay, it is nothing but starting point of the application. Whenever you code in the C#, everything must be in classes because this is object oriented. Okay, outside the scope of class, you cannot write any code. Only within the classes, you need to write it. And our class is what here? Program class is the main class. This is going to be containing here starting method called as main. Okay, a project may contain multiple classes. Okay, in all the classes also you can have main method. You can have a number of main methods within the same project in different classes. But in such cases, you need to specify which class main method you have to use as the starting method. So here, since there is only one version of the main, therefore what is happening here? We are not specifying explicitly, but whenever you define one more class, and in that if you define one more main method, in such cases what happens? You need to specify them in the project. Here you can come to this one in the console app1 properties. When you come here, there is a feature called startup object. Okay, here you need to specify the startup object. Console app1.program is right now the startup object. Okay, the main method is going to be startup. So here, if you create one more class which is containing main method, in such case you need to specify explicitly within the project in the console app1. Here you need to come to this point and you have to set that particular thing. Since there is only one class which is containing main method, no issue. But when your application is containing multiple classes, and in different classes if you have main method, in such case you need to set explicitly which classes main method you want to execute. So now here what I do, I just go to the solution console app1. Here I want to create another main method, another class which can contain here main method. So this is a new item. Okay, so I want to name this as here like string manipulation. Okay, later on we write code in that, but right now I'm just making it as string manipulation.cs file. All the C# code files have an extension called .cs. Okay, now it has created here one more class called string manipulation.cs. I want to change this to public. Since they are part of actually console app1, okay, yeah, the namespace is a console app1. Again, when I create another class, it is going to be in that namespace only. Now, console app1 is having two different classes. One is what? Program. Second thing is here string manipulation. And now let me write here a main method. Public, then here static void. I put here main, followed by here string args. Okay, then here write console.writeLine. Okay, this is string manipulation. I'm just printing something. I print this one as here string manipulation. Now, when you run application, it is going to be in a confusion because main method we have in the program.cs as well as in the string manipulation.cs. In both the files, you have main method. When I try to run this, this gives error. Now we need to set explicitly which classes main method you want to use as the starting point of the application. Now let me go here and start debugging. So what happens? See in this. So it says there were build errors. Would you like to continue and run the last successful build? Build means what? Whenever you compile it automatically, it's going to create for you an exe file. Okay, it's going to create an exe file. Okay, so now there is an error. What is that error? Let us see here. Click on the no. In the bottom, you can find here. Program has more than one entry point defined. Compile with /main to specify the type that contains the entry point. So which entry point you want to use? Whether you want to use program.cs main method or whether you want to use here string manipulation.cs entry point. So it is in a confusion. You have to come to project, then here in the console app1, now you need to set the startup object. Click on this here. Either you can go with console app1.program or you can go with the string manipulation. First, let us go with the string manipulation. Then after that, let us try to run this now. So without any problem, it is actually getting executed. You print here, this is string manipulation. it's printing. This is string manipulation. Okay, now once again, what I do, this is what exactly this particular main method is getting executed. Now, instead of this, I want to go here with the program.cs main method. I go to project, then console app1.properties. Here again, change the startup object. So there are actually two things. One is what console app1.program. Second thing is here console app1.string manipulation. In the given namespace console app1, there are two classes, two programs are written. One is what program.cs. Second thing is here string manipulation.cs. So earlier I set it as string manipulation.cs. Okay, that class which is containing main method. So that main method as starting point or entry point I have specified. Now I want to change it to programs main method. Okay, now I set like this, and again when I execute, different result you get. So this time what is happening? The sum of 10 and 20 is 30. It's printing like this. That means this particular piece of code is getting executed for us. Okay, so here we have defined two variables, integer A10, B20. Okay, so this is called as here a statement. And this one is also nothing but a statement. A statement is something similar to a sentence in English. Okay, a statement in a programming language is something similar to a sentence in English. How we make sentence, how a sentence is composed, using various parts of speech, using them, arranging them in a particular order, which makes sense, then in such case we call it as sentence and we can understand that. Otherwise, it's going to be confusing even for us. Since we are human beings, probably, I mean, you can understand overall meaning of that, but computers cannot be like that. So therefore, syntactically that should be correct, then you can get actually expected result from that. So here what I do, int A10, B equal to 20, I have written here. Int is what? This is a keyword. As we know, keywords are reserved words. They have predefined meaning. You cannot use them for your own purpose. Whereas A and B are nothing but here, they are your invented things. They are called as variables here. A is a variable, B is a variable. Okay, you can think A as a variable and B as a variable here because whose quantity you can change. After some time, the value you can change. But what type of variable this is? It is integer type of variable. That means you can hold only integer type of data. That is nothing but here numeric data. It can hold only numeric data. And B is also nothing but it is a variable which is integer type. This also can hold only numeric data. Okay, I have declared here two variables, int A equal to 10, B equal to 20. Like this, you need not always assign a value. Otherwise, if you don't assign value, it's going to take 0 as the default value for integers. Okay, so therefore here I have declared here this is called as one statement. Okay, this is nothing but one statement. So in this statement, you have here a keyword called int, and A is a variable, B is a variable, and equal is nothing but here this is an operator. Equal is nothing but an operator. So assignment operator, with the help of that, you are assigning 10 to A and 20 to B. And how do you separate actually the variables? Here using comma you are separating. At the end you are terminating line semicolon. In the case of C, C++, JavaScript, Java, so you end a statement using semicolon. With the help of semicolon, you can separate two statements. As we separate in our English sentences with a period or with a dot, okay, we end actually a sentence. In the same manner, in the C#, we separate actually statements with the help of the semicolon. So this is containing here two different statements. Two different statements are in this. So this is the first statement and this is the second statement. Okay, this is first statement and this is what exactly? Second statement. In the first statement, you have written A10, B20. You are assigning here, 0 is called as here, it is called as here operator. So with the help of that, you are assigning assignment operator. Then console.writeLine. Console is nothing but actually predefined class. In that you have a method called writeLine method. So this is nothing but static method. With the help of this, you are writing onto the computer monitor. Console basically controlling part, we say in the whenever you work with machines, you have input console and you have output console. Okay, input console is normally keyboard, mouse. Okay, output console is going to be here. It is screen, and similarly, whenever you have errors, errors also appear on the screen. So console for outputting, okay, that means to show on the screen. Similarly, when you have errors, even you show errors on the screen. So that is called as console. And keyboard is nothing but console again, that's input. With the help of that, you can give input. Okay, so here console is a predefined class. With the help of the write line, you can write something on the screen here. We are writing something on the screen in this case. So it is printing here how much value this is. This is called as here, you are substituting the A here, you are substituting B here, you are substituting here A plus B value. So how many arguments you are passing to this? This is called as here format string. Okay, you're formatting the given string actually. And in the case of this curly brackets and 0, you are going to substitute A value. And for this, you are going to be substituting B value. And for this, you are going to be substituting the A plus B value. In whatever order you write here, in the same manner, they appear. Okay, so A is nothing but actually very first argument. It's called a 0 argument, 1 argument, and 2 argument. So arguments start which actually in this case with a 0. 0 argument, 1 argument, and 2 argument. So at the 0 position, you have A. In the first position, we have B. In the second position, A plus B. So how many total arguments we are passing here? Total 3 arguments we are passing to this. Okay, 0 here in this area, A is going to be getting substituted, and here B is getting substituted, and here A plus B is going to be getting substituted. Okay, it is complete expression we have written. A plus B is nothing but expression which is having here 2 terms. Mathematically, this is a binomial expression. A plus B we have written. So in the case of A plus B, here it is what? The result ultimately you get. On the fly, this is evaluated and the result is substituted in this area here. Okay, A comma B followed by here A plus B. It is actually 2 lines. We are separating them semicolon, and even the last statement also we separate with the semicolon. So this is printing here 2 numbers. A is sum of 2 numbers is printing here. Along with A and B, it's printing even the sum. So what exactly it's going to print for us? The sum of 10 and 20 is 30. It is going to print for us. Okay, and this is what this is a like a comment. This is called as a comment when you go with the 2 slashes. This is called a single line comment. You can have multi-line comment as well. Let me show you here multi-line comment how to write. So comments are very important. They improve the readability of the code. Okay, following statement declares 2 variables. Okay, declares 2 variables we write. Similarly, I want to now go with the multi-line comment here. Okay, multi-line comment. I just want to end here. Now inside this, I can write multiple lines. Okay, following statement prints the sum of 2 numbers. Sum of 2 followed by here numbers. Okay, what I do here, I'm writing comments in more than 1 line. So that's why we call this as a multi-line commenting. Slash star, and you are going to end with star slash. It is a multi-line comment, and this is a single line comment. Only 1 line of comment you can write using here 2 slashes. Okay, along with this, you have one more commenting type that is called an XML comment. But you can use XML comment before the class name or before the method name. For documentation purpose, it can be used. Okay, programmers, what they do normally, they write the code. Okay, after that, suppose you have to create reference manual. Okay, so in that case, what happens? The developer, along with somebody, the document creator, has to work together to create the reference manuals. But that is going to be time-wasting process. Instead of that, whenever developer is writing some code, at the time itself is for the important things, they can write the documentation. So that you can do with the help of the XML commenting. So XML comments we can do before the class name and before the method name. Here is the main method. This is the class name. When you type here 3 times slashes automatically, it's going to create XML comments for us. Okay. So once again, I delete here and type slash 3 times continuously. In such case, it is going to add tags like summary, then closing tag summary. So here, whatever comment you want to put, you can put. Following is program class, which contains main method. Okay, you can write something like this. Contains main method. Okay, and if you put here again, if you come, in this case now when you type here 3 slashes, automatically some skeleton is created for us, summary. In whatever manner you want to describe the method, you can describe here, then followed by parameters. You have here params, args. You are passing to this particular main method. Okay, this is main method. Okay, you can pass variable number of arguments to this method. Need not be just one argument or 2 arguments or 3. You can pass n number of arguments, or you need not pass any arguments. So this is exactly string array. This is which can accept here variable number of arguments. In the form of the string only, we need to pass here. Okay. Right. This accepts n number of string arguments. Arguments whose type can be string. Only string arguments you can pass in this because we are defining. And one more thing, C# is strongly as well as strictly typed language. Okay, C# is what exactly? It's a strongly typed language as well as very strictly typed language. Strong type meaning is what here? You are declared int a equal to 10, b equal to 20. Suppose you try to assign something like here a equal to 67.8. What happens in such cases? It's going to give error. It's a type mismatch here. If you see, there is a type mismatch. Okay, this is not an integer. This is a floating point number. It is nothing but a floating point number. You can't assign actually floating point number to here a variable. What type of variable this is? Integer type of variable. Okay, similar, this is called as here strong typing. Only the integer type of data you can assign to here variable a. Similarly, what I try to do, I want to declare b equal, not b. I want to go with some z equal to here. When I try to use, it's not at all possible, but still I try to do. Okay, so when I try to type here, it's not accepting because no such variable is available. I try to put here, I could not even type in this case. Okay, so here underscore I use, z I use here, followed by equal to, suppose I put some 100. When I put like this, what is happening? It gives again error because it is not existing in the current context. There is no such variable called underscore z. So that's why we call it as actually here like strongly typed language. It's not strictly typed. Strictly typed it is of course, but it's not actually, it is strongly typed as well. That means typing is must. Without declaring here variable type of data, you can't assign. Language like Python, they allow. Okay, wherever you want to declare a variable, you can declare, and whatever data you want to assign, you can assign. It is loosely typed language, Python, and dynamically typed language. But C# is, of course, its type, it supports dynamic typing. Okay, but here what happens? Without declaring the variable type, you can't assign. This is actually, it's not going to allow here. So when you put here underscore z equal to 100, it is not going to accept because you don't have a variable called underscore z. Neither you gave any type to that. So that's why it is giving error here. But if you put, when you put here int, like int z equal to 100, there is no error now. Here you don't find any error because you are specifying the type. But without specifying type, if you try to assign value, it is not going to accept. Okay, so we call this as, that's why, strongly as well as strictly typed language. Next thing, here what I do, sometimes what happens, you may get data dynamically. Okay, particularly when you work with the websites, you may write APIs. From front end, you may be getting data. You expect integer type of data, but you may get string data sometimes other type of data you get. Okay, so in such cases, the type should be getting inferred based on the data. Whatever data is coming, based on the data, the type of the variable must be inferred. So for that purpose, little mechanism is available. It is called as dynamic typing, like this, where some x equal to, you can assign 100. Okay, this is acceptable. But if you put here simply in this manner, where some y, this is not acceptable. As soon as you declare a variable, you need to assign the data there. Okay, otherwise that's not accepted. Here what is happening, where y we have written. Okay, when you write where y, you are not associating any type of data, therefore it is error in such cases. What type of data it is, it can't infer. But when you write here where x equal to 100, immediately its type can be inferred. So this is called as here dynamic typing. It is supported even in the C# language. Okay, but unlike here, unlike other variables, like for example, take int some k you write here. You may not be assigning any data, just you can declare int k. Later on, you can assign values to this, like 100 you can assign. At a later point of time, you can be adding data to k. Okay, but here what happens if you declare a variable like var k, if you don't assign any data to that, so it's in a confusion. What type of data it's going to hold? So that's why, like, declaring a variable in this manner is illegal. But if you declare a variable like var x equal to 100, this is very much legal. It is going to be getting accepted. Okay, so like this, Java, basically C# is strongly as well as strictly typed language. Sometimes what happens, to hold dynamic data, you can declare a variable dynamically, like var x equal to 100. Like this, sometimes dynamic scoping is possible there. Dynamically, a variable can be declared, but immediately you need to assign data in such cases. Otherwise, it gives error. Okay, so dynamic typing is allowed, but we don't use that very frequently in the C#. We don't use very frequently that. Normally, the variables, whatever you are declaring, are going to be static kind of nature. Oh, that means static meaning here it is, once you declare a variable, you cannot change its value. Where the variable type of data is going to be static. Once you assign some particular type of data, you can't change its type. But in other languages, you can change it. Okay, like Python, JavaScript, you can change the type of data to the variable. Here also, once you declare var x equal to 100, if you try to assign here some string data, it will not accept now. Some ABC I put here. It's going to give error for us in this case. Reason, initially it has inferred type of data as integer. Now what we are doing, we are trying to assign here ABC, so which is not acceptable. Which is not actually going to be acceptable. So in the case of C# language, but in Python, this is very much valid. First, you can assign numeric data to the same variable. You can assign some string type of data in the Python. Okay, so this may be changing from language to language. In the case of Java, also same thing happens. You can declare a variable dynamically. You assign some type of data. Later on, you cannot change the type of that particular variable. Even though you declare variable dynamically, later on, its type you cannot change. But in the Python, type can be changed. Even in the JavaScript, it can be changed. Okay, so this is basically strong typing, strict typing, loose typing, and one more thing is here what? Dynamic typing. So this variable is dynamically typed variable. This is called as here dynamically typed variable, and these are statically typed variable. Type is getting inferred whenever you assign a value to the variable. Depending on the value, type is going to be getting inferred. So here C# is that much intelligent to understand type of data here. Okay, so we are talking about data type more and more. So whenever we work with actually any computer application, so what basically we deal with data. We are going to deal with data, but what type of data it is? Data may be like numbers, okay, or it can be like strings, or it can be like true or false values, okay, or it can be date and time, okay. So, or it can be sometimes binary data, like sound files, image files, they can be called as binary data. So data you can have in different formats. You can have numbers, you can have strings, you can have true or false values, you can have date and time, you can have binary data. So sometimes you have GUIDs. GUID is nothing but globally unique identifier. You can create a 16-byte string. So that's going to contain a unique string always. It is called as GUID, globally unique identifier. So these are the types of data available with the C#. Okay. So here again, you have two types of data. One is value type, other one is reference type. Okay, value type we have, and other one is reference type. For example, take numbers. Okay, similarly, Boolean.
Microsoft Loop introduces the next generation of co-creation, bringing together teams and their work across Microsoft.
So these are basically numbers and Boolean are going to be here. Primitive type of data. Similarly, they are value type. They are predefined ones for us. So when you work with numbers, again, numbers are here, like whenever you talk about numbers, they are going to be like actually absolute and approximate. Okay, like for example, you have 10, then 100, then 200, like this, they can be absolute type of data. When you go with approximate, here it is 10 by 3 or 100 by 6. Such numbers you can call as approximate. You can never get exact value. When you take 10 and when you keep on dividing that with 3, you are going to get it at 3.3333 like that. It is endless, but computer memory is having some limitation. So therefore, at some point, it has to be truncated. So that's why we call it as approximate numbers. The first one is integral type of data. Second is going to be floating type of data. As far as numbers are concerned, one is absolute, second thing is approximate. So in the case of absolute, it is nothing but integers. In the case of approximate, it's actually floating type of data. So floating data is nothing but like 10, for example, you take 3.333, something like that. In that you have actually the integral part as well as fractional part. Such numbers are called as approximate. Okay, need not be always approximation. For example, you take 10 by 2, you may get rounded up number 5. Okay, so when you take 10 and when you divide with 2, that can be 5. In that manner you can have. But normally that is actually in the form of actually a rational number. So rational number contains both, real number. It contains both rational as well as irrational numbers. Even the whole numbers as well as integers are inclusive in that. So 10, 100, 200. Okay, somebody is actually, can you mute please? Okay, 10, 100, 200. Here, such numbers can be called as absolute numbers. They are integers. Approximate are going to be floating type of data. 10 by 3, 100 by 6. They can be called as here approximate. So therefore, we have now one is integers. Second thing is floating type, float type of data. Further, we can divide integers into a byte. Okay, similarly, short, we say int. Next thing is long. Byte type of integer can hold only 1 byte of data. It can hold only 1 byte of data. Okay, byte basically 8 bits. We know it. So numbers inside the computer, they get saved in the form of the binary data. Only twos and ones it knows. A byte can hold only 1 byte of data. A short can hold 2 bytes of data. Integer can hold 4 bytes of data. Long can hold here 8 bytes of data. The size required for byte is here how much? 1 byte.
1 minute, 15 minutes.
Wow.
Okay, when you go with the short, it is actually 2 bytes.
Okay.
It's 2 bytes. When you go here with the INT, this is 4 byte. When you go with the long, it is actually 8 byte. Okay, so 1 byte, 2 byte, 4 byte, 8 byte. Integers are 4 types. Byte type of data, short type of data, INT type of data, long type of data. Again in this. A byte type of data can require here only 1 byte of space. Short integer requires 2 bytes, INT requires 4 bytes, long requires 8 bytes. I am going this much detailed because some of you probably have some experience with programming, but few are actually they are learning from scratch. For the sake of them, I'm trying to cover as much detail as possible. Okay, so 1 byte is going to be here, going to use 1 byte of space. A short integer can use 2 bytes, and INT can use 4 bytes. Long can use here 8 bytes. Okay, but these days everyone knows about bits and bytes. Everyone, even in the school education also, it is taught actually. Okay, so I think that how to measure actually the data, the digital data, everyone knows. Like what is a bit, what is a byte, what is a kilobyte, what is a million byte, what is a like actually gigabyte, what is a terabyte, what is a petabyte, what is a hexabyte, everyone knows, I think. Okay, so here 1024 byte can make actually 1 KB, 1024 KB can make 1 MB, 1024 MB can make 1 GB, 1024 GB can make 1 hexabyte, okay, sorry, petabyte, 1024 petabyte can make actually 1 hexabyte. Like that we have the hierarchy. Okay, so right now we are using memory in terabytes. Very soon we are going to be moving into petabyte because a lot of information, a lot of data is getting generated. Okay, to hold the data definitely require bigger size devices. So they are going to be in the tera or in the petabytes in the future. So now here 1 byte is going to be equal to 1 byte space, short is going to be 2 bytes, INT is going to be 4 bytes, long is going to be 8 bytes. So if you look at byte, further you see here, when we come to this piece of code, I try to declare all types of variables in this. Byte, here b equal to, I put some b already declared there. Okay, in such case, I can go with b1 equal to some 100, I put. b1 equal to 100. Okay, so here byte b1 equal to 100, byte is going to be using 1 byte of space. Now I go here with a short integer, short s equal to, I put like 200. Similarly, I go here with the int, okay, I equal to, here I want to print, I want to assign some 300. Then long, I want to use here long L equal to like 400. Okay, so this is what type of variable? It is a byte type of data. It's integer. All are integer. All are integers. They are compatible types. You can call them as actually compatible types. So all of their integers. Okay, byte b1 equal to 100, short s equal to 200, int I equal to 300, long L equal to 400 you have. So b1 requires how many bytes here? Just 1 byte space it can use. It cannot use more than that. Short s can use here 2 bytes, int I can use here 4 bytes, long here L can use actually 8 bytes of space. Okay, so here by default byte is here signed 1. It is basically here a signed type of data. It can accept both, by default byte is actually unsigned. That means it can accept only the positive numbers. It can't support actually negative numbers. Let us see by assigning some negative value here. What happens? See, B1 equal to, I put minus 100. When I try to assign here minus 100, it's showing error for me here. Okay, because minus 100 cannot be converted to here a like signed type of data, this unsigned type of data. Unsigned meaning is what? It can support 0 and only positive numbers. But I'm assigning here minus 100, so therefore it does not support. By default, byte is what type of data? It is actually unsigned type of byte integer data. Unsigned meaning is what? It can hold only 0 and the positive numbers. When you try to assign here minus 100, it's not accepting. Okay, to accept both positive and negative, you can declare a variable called s byte. We call this as actually s byte. SB equal to, here in this now, I can assign some 700. But still this can't be accepted here. Why it can't accept? The range for actually signed byte, here it is from minus 128 to 127. You are trying to assign a value much more than actually that given range. Okay, for a signed byte, the range is going to be minus 128 to 127. We are assigning 700, which is not acceptable. Even here also range is going to be like 0 to 255. Below 255, 0 to 255 it accepts. But above 255 or below 0, it will not accept. Below 0, it's called as actually underflow. Above 255, it is called as overflow. Okay, both of them are not supported. It can accept only 0 to 255. And here also, it can accept only from minus 128 to 127. This is the range for actually byte type of data. When you try to assign 700, it's not going to accept it because it's not in the given range. 700 is what type of data? It is actually here a 32-bit signed integer. Integer type of data. So therefore, you can't accept that into S byte here. When you try to convert something like that, that is called as here narrowing conversion. There are two conversions. One is widening, other one is narrowing conversion. Okay, suppose you put here something like S byte. Now it is accepted. Okay, it should be accepting basically. So when I go here, this feature is called as typecasting, but it's not accepting in this case here. Okay, so you cannot have actually in the S byte a value 700. When you try to assign 700, it gives error for us. It's giving error. Okay, so it's going to give error here because it's not in the given range. It's not actually the given range, so therefore it is here error for us. It's nothing but here error. So therefore you cannot assign like this. It is not compatible now. 700 is an integer type of data and S byte can accept only integers. This is smaller type and this is bigger type. Yes, bigger type value cannot be assigned to smaller type of data. In such case, what happens? You are going to lose the data from that. That's why it is not allowing us to strictly do that. It is something like this. You have two buckets. One is actually 2 liters, other one is 5 liters. Okay. Suppose if 5-liter bucket is empty, and if you have a bucket 2 liters, in that you have full water. So 2 liters bucket water you can put into 5-liter bucket. Without, losing any water, you can actually pour the water into 5-liter bucket. But suppose 2-liter bucket is empty and your 5-liter bucket is full of water. So in such case, if you try to pour the 5-liter bucket water into 2-liter bucket 2-liter bucket, what happens in such cases? Some of the water may be overflowing. So in the same manner here, S byte is here lower type, whereas int is actually higher type. Higher type data you cannot assign to here, lower type variable here. When you try to assign 700, it's give error. But when you put here 7, there is no such error here. There is no error now in this case. Okay, so all these are, here, integer types of data, they're compatible. But again, in this, a lower type variable cannot accept actually higher type of data. Okay, higher type data cannot be accepted here. So when you go here, S byte SB equal to some 700, it was not accepting because 700 is actually integer type of data. Okay, so here byte is what here, it's unsigned, whereas S byte is what here signed. That means it can support both positive and negative. We can assign here -7, there is no issue. When you assign 7 also, there is no issue. Okay, but in the byte, if you try to assign here some -100, it's giving error for us. So it's actually giving error for us. When you try to assign here minus 100, it's giving error in this case. But if you remove here minus sign, there is no problem in such cases. It can accept only the 0 and positive numbers. Similarly, when you go with the short, by default short is here, it's going to use 2 bytes. So it can support both positive and negative. This is called as here signed. Suppose you want to accept only the positive and 0. In such case, you need to define this as here U short. Unsigned, this is U short equal to, you can assign something like 100. If you try to assign some minus 100, it's going to give error for you. Okay, minus 100 when you type here, it's going to give error. But here with the short, if you go, what happens here, if you put minus 200, there is no error. In that case, you don't get error, but when you go with the U short, US equal to minus when you put here, it gives error. So U short can accept only the positive as well as 0. Similarly, INTI can accept both negative and positive numbers, but when you go here with the UINT, in such case, okay, UINT if I take, and if I try to assign here some UI equal to like minus 100, it will give error again because it can't accept actually the negative numbers. So 100 if you assign, there is no issue with that. Same thing is applicable with the long. You can have long as well as U long. Long is what exactly? It is signed, whereas U long is actually not signed. It can support only 0 and positive numbers. Okay, so like this, you have the integer number system. Similarly, you have floating data. For that purpose, you have here 2 different types. One is what? Float. Other one is here. One is float. Other one is here double. Float actually single precision. After decimal point up to 5 digits, you can have precision. In the case of double, after decimal point up to 15 digits, you can have precision. When you take float, after decimal point up to 6 digits, you have the precision. Okay. When you go with the double, after decimal point up to some 15 digits, you can have precision. So that is float and double. Float uses 4 bytes of space, whereas double is going to be using here 8 bytes of space. It is 4 bytes and double is going to be using here 8 bytes of space. Okay. So they can support both integers as well as the fractional numbers. You can go with 100 or you can go with 100.25. Similarly, in the case of double also, you can go with the 200 and you can go with 200.777, something like that. You can assign the value to double type of data. Okay, so float and double are actually floating point numbers. You can call them sometimes as approximate. You have absolute as well as approximate numbers. Most of the time we deal with the numbers. The next thing is what here? Boolean type of data. So Boolean, you can declare a variable using bool. With the help of bool, you can declare variable. So let me declare here a variable like here. Okay, float f equal to, I assign some 22.5. This gives error. By default, 22.5 is going to be treated like actually double. In such case, you need to prefix in the end f. Sorry, suffixing is required, f there. Similarly, you can go with double d equal to, you can assign like 100.00. So this is double type of data. Okay, float f when you take 22.5f and double d equal to 100.00. So this is going to use here 4 bytes of space and this is going to use here 8 bytes of space. This is single precision and this is double precision. That means after decimal point up to 5 digits, you can 6 digits, you can have precision when you go with the float. But in the double precision, up to 15 digits, you can have precision. Okay. Then after that, we have here bool type of data. We call this as bool. Bool b equal to, here b is already defined. B val I put here equal to, you can assign a false value or true value. It can support both false and true. It can support both false and true. Bool b value equal to false we have taken. You can assign a false value or you can assign a true value. Okay, so like this is called as here Boolean type of data. Next type of data is actually string type of data, but this is called as here reference type of data. It's not actually value type. It's a reference type. So for you, actually, I'm giving this assignment in the C#. What is the difference between value type and reference type? You need to search in the Google and you need to find that. Okay, what is the value type and what is the reference type? You need to search and you need to find the difference. String is actually here a reference type of data. String S equal to, I write here some ABC. Okay, whatever you put in double quotes, this is called as here string. Okay, it is called as a string already. With this, some variable is declared, I think. That's why it is giving error. When you put string st equal to ABC. Similarly, I can write here st equal to simply some number 100. Though it is containing digits inside that, still this is a string only. It's containing digits, but when you put something in double quotes, this is called as here a string. This is exactly what it's a string. st equal to 100 I have written. So this is actually string. On the top also I have written string st equal to ABC and here st equal to 100. Okay, it's a variable. I'm changing its type here. st equal to 100 I have written. So though this is containing here only digits inside this, still you have to think this as actually string only. Reason, you are writing something in the double quotes. The whatever you put in double quotes, that will be treated as a string. String is one more thing, it is actually immutable. Okay, it's not mutable, it's immutable. So once you assign a value, you cannot modify that value. Here it's not modification, I am creating a new object here. So that's why I'm asking you to find out what is the difference between a value type and a reference type. You have two types. One is value type, other one is reference type. Okay, so here F is what type of data? Value type. This D is value type. Bool B value is also value type, but ST is what exactly? It's string type of data. This is called as here reference type of data. It's called as here reference type of data. I am declaring a string variable, putting them in the double quotes. So this is called as here a string. Okay, it's called as actually string. So apart from this, we have date time, then GUID. So we discuss more and more about them as we progress. But initially, we have to deal with these types of data. Numbers, then Boolean type of data. One more thing is what? Strings. One more type of data is what exactly? It's nothing but string here. Okay, and this you can call as a template string. So in this string, what we do? We are actually substituting values for 0, 1, and 2 from A, B, and A plus B. Okay, so all these are basically, I have showed you the integer types, what you have. Like first thing is byte, then followed by small integer, short integer, integer, then long. So byte we say, short we say, then followed by int, then one more thing is what? Long. There are 4 integral types of data, and for floating type of data, we have float as well as double. Then you have bool. With the help of that, you can declare a Boolean type of variable, which can hold a true or false value. And you can declare a string st equal to ABC. There is one more version of the string. It is called as string builder. With the help of that, you can make string mutable. So this is here immutable, whereas string builder is mutable. Okay. So you try to find out further difference between the mutable string and immutable string in the C#. What is mutable string and what is immutable string? A mutable string can be modified. A immutable string cannot be modified. Once you create a string object, you cannot modify the content in that. But if you take actually string builder object, so once you assign some string to that, you can change it. Okay, you can change the value in that. So in all this, what we do, we created so many statements here. We are using keywords, we are using here identifiers, we are using operators, we are using separators. For example, take here var x equal to 100. So it is containing here, var is what exactly? It's a keyword which has predefined meaning. You cannot use it for your own purpose. Like in English, how we use helping verbs, is, was, have, has. They have a predefined meaning. For that purpose only we have to use them. In the same manner, here you have certain keywords. For their intended purpose, you must use it. For your own purpose, you cannot use. Okay, for example, take x here. X is called as identifier. And this equal is what here? It's a assignment operator. And 100 is what here? It's a constant. 100 is nothing but a constant value here. And when you go with the semicolon, this is called as here separator. You are separating two different lines. There is a statement in line number 41. statement in line number 43, you are separating both of them with the semicolon here. So using semicolon, these two statements we are separated. This is called as a program because this is containing more than one command here or more than one statement. All the statements you have written together and at one time we are going to be executing. So this is called as basically program. Okay, you can think this as a program and this is the starting point of the application. It is called as main method. So in every statement, what we are doing, we are using keywords, we are using identifiers, we are using operators, we are using constants. Sometimes what we do, we end a statement with a separator. Sometimes we use comma. Here in the using comma, we are separating actually two variables here. Similarly, to separate a statement from other statement, we use semicolon. So like this, we use here the tokens. Together, we can call them as tokens. Tokens constitute here a identifier, identifiers, operators, separators, constants. All of them are actually part of the statement. Identifier is nothing but user invented. A is created by me here. Whatever name I want to put here, I can put, but that name must not be duplicated. Name must not be duplicated. So identifier names can be like namespace names, class names, method names, similarly variable names, constant names. Okay, for all of them, I can use here my own constructs or my own names. They can be called as here identifiers. An identifier always must start with the alphabet or with underscore. It can't start actually with a digit. Like for example, see if I try to declare a variable with number, what happens? See, int 1a equal to, you try to put some 400, it's nothing but error here. It can't be started with here 1. Okay, it's wrong actually to start, but if you put a1, there is no issue in that case. Okay, similarly, you can go this way, int underscore a equal to some 500 if you 500 if you use, there is no error in such cases. You don't have any error here. When you go with int underscore a equal to 500, no error. So the identifier must be starting with an alphabet or with underscore. Okay, after that you can have digits or other underscore or other alphabets, but the initial character must be always an underscore or an alphabet. You cannot start with a digit. If you try to start with a digit, it is not going to be giving you, it will not allow actually. It gives error. So identifiers have to start always with the alphabets or with the underscore. So this rule you have to remember always. You have to remember this rule. It has to start with an alphabet or with underscore. They cannot start with the digits or with the numbers. Okay. So this is what exactly we have seen. 3 different types of data. One is what? Integers. Second, numbers. Second thing is what? String type of data. Third one is here Boolean type of data. Okay. Next thing is what we look into here, operators. So basically operators are nothing but they are some kind of operations. When you want to perform some kind of operation, you have to use some name. Okay, they can be called as here operators. C# has actually different types of operators. First thing is here arithmetic. We call them as arithmetic operators. So here addition, then subtraction, then multiplication. Next thing is here division. One more thing is here remainder. You can perform these arithmetic operations. And remember one particular thing, when you perform arithmetic operations, when both the operands are integers, you get always result as integer. This rule you need to remember when you work with the C# or with Java. Suppose you have 10, you have 3. When you try to divide 10 with 3, what result you get here? You don't get 3.33. You are going to get it as 3 only. Because 10 is what? Integer. 3 is an integer. You are trying to perform here an arithmetic operation, division. The quotient is going to be here always 3. When you divide 10 with 3, you get the remainder as, not remainder, the quotient is going to be 3 here. Okay, you cannot get 3.33, something like that. You get always only integer value, but exact value is here in this case. When you divide 10 with 3, you have to get 3.333, something like that. But you never get that, you are going to get only 3 in that case. Okay, even if you take here, like, you take here something like 100 we take. Okay, So try to divide 100 with 8. How much you get in such cases here? So when you try to divide 100 with 8, so 12 8s are 96. Okay, 12 point, how much you have to get? 5 you have to get, but you don't get 5, you are going to get only 12 in such cases. 100 divided with 8 is going to give you only 12. This is not actually recurring decimal, but still you don't get actually 5 because 100 is an integer, 8 is an integer. So therefore you get actually integer only as the result. Now let us explore those with the help of some other class here. So the class name, what I'm going to create is here arithmetic operations. In the console app1, I go with this, then I try to add a new class. Class name is here, it is A operations. Okay, so here it is. I want to put this as public. Then here inside this, I would like to go with the main method. Public, then static, followed by here void. Void meaning is it's not going to return anything. Later on you understand how to use void. So it is a main method. Then here string adds. Okay, then here I want to now perform certain arithmetic operations. Okay, so here I declare int A, similarly int B. I can declare here two variables. A equal to, I give 100. Similarly, B equal to, here it is 8. Okay, B equal to 8. Now I want to here perform arithmetic operations. Here go with the console dot. Instead of going with console dot like this, you can even add number. Okay, so right here result res equal to. So what you do here, where res equal to. Okay, or else here, yes, where res equal to, here in this, now I can go with the A plus B. I'm adding two numbers. I want to print the result now. Write console dot write line. So using write line, I can write onto the screen. Then after that, after printing the line on the screen, cursor should go into next line. That's why we call it as write line. At the end, it's going to be embedding a new line character. So here write 0 plus 1 equal to, here it is 2, we write. So here go with the comma, then type here A comma B. Similarly, here we write res. Okay, I'm writing here this one as res. Next step. So here what I do, A minus B, I write this time. So this is A minus B. Now this is minus, I put the rest I'm printing. In the same manner, this time multiplication. For multiplying, I can use here a star symbol. And in the place of this minus here, I go with the X. Okay, then I'll print here the division part. Okay, so here what I do, where I want to put like here quotient Q equal to A divided by B here. Okay, then here I'll go with this, then put a percent symbol. When you divide A with B, what do we get? Let us see here. Instead of going with actually res, this time I want to use Q here. I have to use here Q. Then after that, once again I can find the remainder now in such case here. So this is what A percent B this time I'm going to use. Okay, then here, okay, it's division actually, not percent remainder. So I can go here with the slash, then here it is going to be remainder. percent I can use. With the help of that, we can print here the result. Okay, I have written these 4 statements. Okay, these are meant for actually here arithmetic operations. So these 5 are going to be here arithmetic operations I want to perform. Okay, now if I try to run, this will not be running because earlier I have chosen the startup object is the main method of the program.cs. Even if you see here, now what exactly it runs, see here. Okay, it is coming to something. So it is part of actually program.cs. Now I have to change I have to set the A operations main method as the starting point of the application. So I go to project, then console app1 properties. Here I can change. Okay, so I have here only string manipulation. So here it's not available. Then I close here. Again, I open that and see what do I get here. Now this time you can find here console app1.a operations. Let us start running this and see the result. So what result we are getting here? 100 plus b equal to 108. 100 minus 8 equal to 92. Okay, 100 multiplied with 8 is going to be 800. When you divide 100 with 8, you are getting only 12. You are not getting 12.5. Okay, 100 when you divide with 8, remainder is going to be 4. All of them are working correct, but only the 100 when you divide with 8, you are getting 12. Because both of them are actually integers. When you look at this, A is integer, B is also integer. Therefore, you are getting the result in this case as here integer only. But if you make one of them as actually floating point data, what will happen? See here, we go with the 1.0 in such cases. Okay, we multiply A with 1.0. One of the operand is going to be now here floating type of data. So in such case, what happens? You are going to get this as 12.5. Now you can see result is what exactly? 12.5. You can find the result as here 12.5. Okay, if any one operand is actually floating type of data, result is going to be floating type of data. And A is an operand, B is an operand, and star is what exactly? Operator. So this is what exactly binary. All these are nothing but here binary operators. Because they require here 2 operands. A is one operand, B is another operand. Like this we perform here arithmetic operations. Okay, so this is what main method. In this, we try to perform here some arithmetic operation. But everything is here hard-coded for us. A and B are here hard-coded. That means what? Always this is going to be 108. But suppose you want to enter from keyboard. In such case, how you do that? Let us do that now. Here I comment A equal to 100 and B equal to 8. I want to comment here. Then after that, okay, since the value is not assigned, it is giving here in this case error. Unassigned variable A and B. Now let us try to read data for them. So try to assign here some 0. Int A equal to 0 and int B also make it as 0. Therefore, you don't have any error now. But you are going to get one error in such cases. When you run this, you are going to get error. Here, what I am doing, I am trying to multiply A with 1.0. This is fine. But when I try to divide this expression with 0, you get the result as error. So just try to run and see, you get error now. So that's going to, it's going to actually crash your application. Okay, what exactly this is? System divided by 0 exception. We are trying to divide the expression using 0 here. So this is in fact wrong. That's why it was giving error there. So in such case, we need to handle the exceptions in the runtime. Fine. So what we do for that purpose, we can put here around this try catch block. Here we go with the try. Okay, this is called as exception handling. Runtime error handling is called as exception handling. We are going to handle exceptions in this manner here. Then here go with the catch. Okay, exception. Then EX. Here you can handle the exception. Or what is the cause of the error? You can find. Write console dot write line. Here you can go with EX dot message. What is the error? What is the cause of the problem? Here you can find. Okay, now I want to read it from keyboard. Okay, when you run here, this time it will not clash. Okay, it will not crash. What happens? See now. Okay, it says 0 by 0 is equal to nan, not a number it is. Attempted to divide by 0, which is wrong actually. Which is wrong, that's why it is stopping. It's not actually going with the remainder operation. After this, you have a remainder operation as well. Okay, after this, you have a remainder operation, but it's stopping here itself. Beyond that, it's not going there. Okay, so like this is called as runtime error. So you are handling the runtime error in that manner using the try catch block. You're trying to execute this piece of code here. Due to any reason, if the code cannot be executed, what happens? It comes to this catch block and reports error. And after that, safely you can close the program. When there is no try catch block, what happens? The application is going to be crashing. When application crashes, what happens? You may lose some important data. So that's why try to handle with the help of the try catch block. This feature is called as exception handling. You can handle exceptions. Exception is nothing but runtime error. Okay, now we need to read data from the keyboard. Okay, there is no data. A is 0 and B is also 0. We have to enter from keyboard data now. Here write console.write line. Enter data for enter first number. I want to call this as here first number. Enter first number. Then here I want to go with A equal to here int dot parse followed by here console dot read line. Console dot read line. So with this, whatever data entered, I'm converting into here integer. Similarly, again write console dot write line. Here enter second number. Okay, so second need not be uppercase. Enter second number. Followed by here 3 dots we put. We have to enter here second number. Then write here b equal to again int dot parse followed by here console dot write read line. So using read line, you can read data from keyboard. Whatever you enter from keyboard is going to be in the string format. So even though you enter only digits, you enter 100, even though you enter digits 100, it is going to be treated like string. That's why we are converting the string into integer with the help of the int.parse, which is nothing but a helper method available with the integer class. You have A and B. We are reading from keyboard. We are converting into integer. Now see the result, what happens in such cases now. Okay, here I go with the first number 50. Second number is here going to be 4. So what result we expect? First thing 54. Then how much you should get? 46 you have to get. 50 into 4 is going to be how much you get in such cases? 200. Then after that 12.5 you have to get. When you divide 50 with 4, so 2 must be remainder for you in this. The values must be 54, then 46, then 200. The next thing is what here? 12.5. One more thing is 2. The results must be for us. You're getting same thing. 54, 46, 200, 12.5 and 2. Okay, next time you can go with different types of numbers. Okay, I go here with the like 200 I take, followed by second number is 8 here. So in such case, what could be the result? 208. Then next thing is 192. Then 1600. Okay, so when you divide 200 with 8, you have to get 25. The quotient is going to be 25. Remainder is going to be here 0. Like this, it should work. Okay, 208, 192, 1600, 25, and remainder is here 0. Like this is working for us. So this is what exactly I'm trying to perform here, arithmetic operations. This is called as here arithmetic operations. I'm performing here arithmetic operations after entering data from the keyboard for A and B. A is a variable. For this, I'm getting data from the keyboard, and for B also I'm getting data from the keyboard as input.